Hello and welcome to my TMNT layer. Today guys I'm going to be doing a video on my vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 movie action figures and vehicles. And my topic is basically a lot of modern collectors are pretty much walking away from the vintage toys. I noticed that a lot of people like to go more for the modern figures that are coming out. Maybe because they're more detailed compared how they were back in the day. Um, I had this question. This person told me that what do I prefer, more vintage than modern action figures, and that was a pretty good question. It got me thinking because I pretty much mostly I would say my figures are mostly modern than vintage, and basically that answer for that would be that uh I'm not that old, I would say. So basically I'm going back as much as I can on the vintage toys and of what I could remember as a kid. I remember a couple of the Ninja Turtle movies, the ones that came out back in the day, the 90s ones, all that, especially this one, Ninja Turtles 3, the movie. I was, very little. I was like a little kid, back in this day, and I could barely remember these movies. So at the same time, I'm trying to obtain and collect, as much as I can remember as a kid. And most of these toys that I have in front of me, um, I do remember them. Because I was a little bit older by the time the Ninja Turtles movie 3 came out. So I kind of have more knowledge of it. The other ones, um, I do remember a lot from the other movies, but basically, the Ninja Turtles 3 movie was the one that really kept me going. Even though a lot of people say this movie wasn't that good, that it had its flaws, and but to me, it was pretty decent movie. I was a kid back in the day. When this movie came out, it was a big emotion to me. It was something big comparing the Ninja Turtles from the cartoon to then a live action movie. I mean, it's a lot you could take in as a kid, and especially with these figures. Like I remember these characters exactly because, like I said, I had more knowledge and more. I was more conscious. You know, uh, when I was a little kid and growing up. So I remember this movie more than any of the other movies. So especially these characters, like example, here's Walker. He was the main villain from the movie, I would say. I know he was a weird villain. He was like a pirate or like whatever you want to call him. But I pretty much know him. I remember these horses. They were part of the warlords' soldiers. The horses were like designed and all that like for the samurai era. So everything, all this is familiar to me. So this I definitely had to pick up. I hunted down. These figures were one of the best ones I could get as in vintage and carded figures because these figures, they really bring back a lot of memories for me. So, you know, especially all these figures, especially this one too. He was a bad guy here in this movie, but this was actually Casey Jones. Um, you know, he was kind of like a thief, or I would say pretty much a bad guy in the movie. And they made him into this like special catapult, with an action figure in there. So it was pretty cool. At least we have something of Casey Jones in there. So, and of course the Ninja Turtles, they were like samurai dressed, so pretty much, you know, what you expect from the movie. So, and the time scepter. So this is more my knowledge. Like I say, I would really like to get some of the other vintage figures, but I seen a lot of people when I tell them about vintage, they go as much as, oh, like they're cool, but I don't see them as well as a modern figure. An example, like I know most collectors, they ask me questions sometimes, or a couple of collectors when I go to places, they go, "Oh, like I like these figures," and it's understandable because it's from the new show, and it's well detailed. It has a lot of things, that older vintage figures didn't do. Like you could just compare the details, the color. There's a lot of difference in there. And here's another example. You know, here's like a Pigeon Pete. We never had a Pigeon Pete action figure. Um, I know there was one gonna be released back in the day in the 2012, but he got canceled for some sort of reason. I don't know what happened. At the last minute, production didn't happen for the figure, so we didn't get one. So we got one here. And a lot of people, they seem pretty happy with these figures. They seem very desirable. I've seen people tell me that they prefer these figures over some of the vintage figures. Like I say, like like I ask them, would you get some of these? And they're like, they think these look cool and all that. Like it looks nice and everything. Like the Ninja Turtles, you know, they look nice, but they prefer mostly the NECA ones. Because I know NECA released some of these with better, molds and weaponry and better design, I would say, than these. But I pretty much grew up on these, so I like more of this vintage style for me. So, but I know they re-released these. Like I know NECA did the figures for the Ninja Turtles first movie and the second movie. So I prefer this, So I'm happy with this. In my opinion, I like vintage. I think it looks very nice. It's desirable, I would say, in a lot of people. But in modern collectors, I don't know. You know, maybe it wasn't their time. Maybe they prefer more something they're more, you know, recognizable for them. More something more, something they kind of like came out at the moment, for young collectors. So it's understandable. It's another time era compared from my time era. So, you know, if you like vintage figures, it's something nice to have. But if you like I said, modern figures, like some of these figures, it's neat. I mean, they're pretty nice. I like them too. I mean, I like both vintage and modern figures at the same time. But like I said, a lot of collectors are going mostly for like modern figures. Um, I got to stores and there's always like the I would say the turtle figures or some of the other action figures. Um, they mostly just like people just buy them, like everything new with new molds and everything. People get them, but you know, I know some of the times like people collect vintage. I seen them when I go to toy conventions. So I would say it's like 50-50, in the collecting world. What people prefer and what people would not prefer. So, but either way, if you like Ninja Turtles and you like collecting action figures or any collectible you like, either modern or vintage, uh, you know, that's your thing. That's your passion. Like I said, for me, it's like I like both. I like vintage and I like modern figures. I believe they both have a little bit, good, you know, in them, especially if you like the action figure or the vehicles or whatever you're collecting. So this for me is an example. I just want to let you guys know that I pretty much like both. I like modern and I like vintage figures. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to, just let that out, let you guys know um, what I'm into at the moment. So if you like this type of video, guys, please leave a like, guys, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.